What is the best cardio to burn fat? This is basic, but I have to say it. Cardio is any exercise that's rhythmic in nature. It raises your heart rate and your breathing. Running outside can burn a lot of calories as compared to running on a treadmill, as due to wind resistance, elevation, and how heavy you are. But running outdoors may not be possible. That's all depending on the weather where you live. And running is not an entry-level sport. My suggestion to people is always to lose the weight first, then start running. Because running while you're heavy can be discouraging, and not only that, but it's going to lead to a lot of nagging injuries. If you're not very overweight, but you still need to lose body fat, if you're a beginner, running may be a little too intense for you as well. And high volume running can also hinder your muscle size and your strength gains, as running is notorious for tearing down legs. But if you enjoy running, go for it. Just keep the risk to your body in mind. Walking is great if you're very overweight or a beginner. If you like being outdoors and it's safe to do so, walking can be very enjoyable and it helps clear your mind. But walking is lower intensity and it won't burn as many calories for the time that you put into it compared to running. A great way to use walking to burn fat is to try to get 10,000 steps a day. I've talked about this in the past. 10,000 is arbitrary, but it's just a good number to shoot for. The way I would do it is, if you can, get on a treadmill in the morning, walk for your 20-30 minutes, count the steps on the treadmill, and then the rest of your day, you're going to try to achieve the next part of that 10,000 steps. And treadmills are great because you don't have to use the weather as an excuse of not being able to get it done. The treadmill is always open for business, unless you have a bunch of laundry hanging on it. And something to consider if you're running on a treadmill is the more running you do, the better and more efficient you become at running, and the less calories you burn during the time that you are doing it. So for example, if you used to burn 100 calories in 20 minutes, now you're probably burning less than that, maybe 80, 75 in the same time. That's where, whether you're walking or running on a treadmill, playing with the speed and elevation can be key. That can help you chew up more calories in the same time because you're making it harder. The upright stationary bike has a lot of potential to burn a lot of calories, but it can absolutely destroy your legs if you do it at a really high intensity. Think spin class, especially if you're a beginner. And be careful not to do a hard session on the upright bike, especially before or after training legs. The good thing is cycling will not tear down your legs. In fact, it will help build a little bit muscle on your legs. This is better than running outdoors, which tends to tear down your legs. If for whatever reason you're trying to grow bigger legs, just make sure that you don't let your cycling impede that progress. If I was strength training, I would use the upright cycle at a low to moderate intensity. And yes, it will tend to burn more calories than walking, but it's probably a wash between cycling indoors and running outdoors. The recumbent bike is a good alternative if you just want to burn some calories in a more comfortable position. It's Sam Sulik's go-to. But if you're looking to really burn calories, don't get too comfortable on the recumbent bike and turn up the resistance so you actually burn some real calories. And outdoor cycling burns a lot more calories than the indoor version. For reasons I mentioned with running, you have wind resistance, you have elevation, you have those slight changes in terrain, and you have to keep yourself upright and balanced on the bike. All of that contributes to that calorie burn. I just think outdoor cycling is too inconvenient, but it can be a great adjunct to your step count. If you can bike to work or do chores safely around your neighborhood, then go for it. Add that to your step count. Cycling outdoors is really a sport in itself. Many people who enjoy it do it in lieu of being in the gym lifting weights and doing cardio. If you stay until the power tip at the end, I'm going to give you a cheat code on a special machine if you have the stamina. The Stair Climber is an excellent calorie burner that I put above the other methods I've covered so far. On the rare occasions where I do feel like doing some formal cardio, the Stairmaster is my go-to. You hop on it just at level 2 to say level 4. You spend 30 minutes on that Stairmaster. I know for myself, I'm always dripping with sweat when I get off of there. There's just something about moving your body vertically that just challenges and just forces you to burn more calories, spikes your heart rate up even when you're not trying, as compared to walking or even running on a level plane. So for that reason, I like the efficiency of the Stairmaster in terms of burning calories. This is a good place to point out my pet peeve. If you need to hold on to the rails for balance on the Stairmaster, the treadmill, or the elliptical, that's fine, I get it. Just hold on lightly for balance. But if you're holding on for dear life, if you have the treadmill at like elevation whatever 15 and you're holding like this, you look like you're gonna fall off, or if you're on the Stairmaster and you crouch down on it like this and you're holding on for dear life, same thing with the elliptical, you're taking away from the effectiveness of that workout. By keeping your body upright, keeping your posture, keeping your breathing and everything in control, you are going to burn more calories. I know people can go faster when they're hanging on, but it's not as efficient as using upright posture. And it just looks stupid. Although no one will probably tell you that, but I just did. Elliptical machines are great because of their low impact. You can get on the elliptical machine if you've got a tricky knee or you have some other orthopedic, maybe even an ankle issue. The elliptical's very gentle on that, so you won't exacerbate it. And sometimes the elliptical machines have an arm component where they reciprocate back and forth, so you're getting your arms involved as well. Any little bit counts. Of course, you're going to burn a few more calories if you're using your arms in conjunction with your legs. And you also have to remember, with the elliptical, you have to increase the angle, the elevation, and the resistance. I'm going to talk about why using just one piece of equipment for your cardio is not the best option. That's going to come up in a minute. Rowing machines probably have the highest calorie burning potential if done super intensely, but they can be awkward and not always available. I personally, I'm not a fan of the rowing machine, and I know a lot of other bodybuilder types who would not get on a rowing machine, but I have spoken to people throughout time who've said they swear by it. They think it is a good calorie burner. If you have back issues, especially low back issues, the rowing machine could make them worse if you're not careful, because you have to have really good form when you're doing this machine. Cross-country skiing machines. I don't know if they even make those anymore. If you're old enough to remember the old Nordic track you do at home, there may be some in some gym somewhere. Next machine is actually not a machine. Swimming has the potential to burn a load of calories, but you gotta be careful, because for some reason, after swimming, I don't know about you, but I know me, I get super hungry. And there have been studies that have been done that have also indicated that people will gain weight when embarking on a swimming program just because of that increase in their appetite. So there's an example of how cardio can actually make you fatter. For that reason alone, swimming is just not on par with the other methods I've covered so far. Another serious reason it deals more mentally is if you're already overweight and fat and out of shape, the last thing you want to do is get semi-naked at a public pool. And I don't blame you. Getting back to the reason I said that using one machine is not the best option, I may have mentioned this already, because the more you do of a particular machine or mode of cardio, the better you get at it, the more efficient you become, you burn less calories in that same amount of time. Just like strength training, you have to use progressive overload with your cardio. You have to either increase the duration or the intensity or both, so that you keep burning a high amount of calories. We've all seen that guy or girl who's on the treadmill every day, but they do it for the same amount of time, the same amount of intensity, and after a year, they still look the same, and in most cases, even a little bit fatter. I don't recommend going haphazardly from machine to machine. But if you're getting stale and you feel like you're hitting a plateau, mix it up and try a different machine. Or go outside and walk, run, or bike. Just changing the stimulus will motivate you, and in turn, you're going to burn more calories. Before I talk about the frequency of your cardio training, there is a word you should be familiar with. It's known as synergy. Synergy is basically one thing is strong on its own, another thing is strong on its own, but when you bring those two things together, they become exponentially strong together. Synergy includes 5 fat loss tools: nutrition, strength, cardio, NEAT, and sleep. I'm not going to lie to you and tell you you can't lose body fat with cardio alone. You can, but if you want to see exponential fat loss, synergizing with the other 4 tools I mentioned should be your goal. Let's say, for argument's sake, that you're on point with the other 4 tools, or you really just don't care about them right now. You just want to get your cardio done because you want to burn fat through cardio. How often you should do cardio training depends on how much time you realistically have and how much fat you have to lose. As a general guideline, obviously I can't be specific. You're all so different out there. But as a general guideline, if you're over 20% body fat, you're going to want to do 5 to 7 days of cardio per week, anywhere from 20 to 60 minutes. Of course, the intensity will depend on how well you're trained to begin with. If you're not doing any strength training, then you're going to want to do 40 to 60 minutes of cardio 5 to 7 days per week, since that's going to form the basis of your fat loss. And 20 to 40 minutes of cardio, if you're strength training, should be a good spot. A good rule of thumb is to keep track of the calories on the machine. I know they're not accurate, but they give you some kind of measure of where you are. So if you burn 200 calories this session, it's great because now your goal for the next session is to burn 200 or more. This is what I mean by progressive overload. Even if you only get 201 calories the next time, you've still progressed. If you're doing cardio outdoors, there's plenty of online calculators that can give you an estimate of how many calories you're burning during that activity. You want to make sure that if you're going to do 60 minutes of cardio, that your intensity is not so great that you're not going to be able to complete the 60. I think it's more important to complete the 60 minutes at a lower intensity because you can always increase the intensity, but if you're going all out, it's going to be real hard to start pushing that to 90 minutes to 2 hours of cardio. I mean, nobody wants to do that in one session. So after 4 weeks of doing your cardio, you should see anywhere from 2 to 4 pounds of fat loss, minimum. And some of you may lose a lot more than that if you're truly in a calorie deficit. Now, if you're 20% body fat or less, you're probably doing okay with the other 4 tools. You're probably not optimized on all of them, but you're at least addressing them. I would mix in 2 to 3 cardio sessions per week at a bit of a higher intensity. And this is going to complement your strength training and also burn some extra calories. Now, if you find yourself at 12% body fat and you get a crazy 3 minutes and you say, oh, now I'm going to try to get to less than 10% body fat, that's a different animal. Now you're talking 5 to 7 days a week, high intensity. I know a lot of bodybuilders, they don't do high intensity, but those bodybuilders who say they don't do high intensity have other chemicals in their system that help with that. And you're not them. But the thing about trying to go below 10% body fat, which is crazy, is your nutrition has to be, precise, because to be able to lose body fat to that level, everything has to be completely on point. But that's beyond the scope of this video. You don't really care about getting below 10% body fat. You just want to do cardio and lose some fat so you can finally see some progress. I get it. Power tip. If your gym is lucky enough to have an assault bike, I would mix in 1 or 2 sessions per week with the assault bike, regardless of what other method of cardio you're doing. There's no cheating with the assault bike. It's hard, I'm warning you. But if you can make it through even a 10 to 12 minute session, you're gonna elevate your metabolism and your fat burning for 12 to 24 hours after. That's a lot of bang for your buck. Cardio is not magic. Cardio is a tool. Now watch this next for the fat burning zone explained. And as always, thanks so much for watching.